All right, guys. We are going to paint Kavalos Deathrider. We got through this guy yesterday. So he was our first model for our Bone Reaper army. So we're going to paint another one here. So hopefully he comes out pretty good as well. And we're going to try out some new Scale 75 instant colors, Demon Brown and Dead Flesh Sin. No, just Dead Flesh. Haven't tried these before. I don't know what colors they are. So we'll see. And hopefully they're good. I didn't. So when I got these models, I traded for them. They were already primed in this bone color, but they didn't have any basing material on them. So I went ahead and put some kind of stone sand texture on and just sprayed kind of their lower half with a red brown primer. So that's why it looks like this, but it's just because they were already primed this bone. But normally I would probably zenithal a highlight up to white because how I'm going to paint this. But we're going to use rotten white, which is just kind of like a thick white paint. And I'm just going to dry brush the zenithal on this guy. I could do it with an airbrush. It'd be a little faster. But since we're doing it on stream, we'll go ahead and do it with the brush. This is a Ghost Dry Brush number 2. If you're interested in these brushes that I'm using, there's a Kickstarter live as we speak. And this is going to be somewhat of a heavy dry brush because it's just not that important. We're not doing anything precise. We're just trying to get some white onto some of the sharper details. I think this guy is the unit champion. So I think he's a good test model for the unit because we'll spend quite a bit of time on him here, painting on stream. I still want to get these done at a decent speed, but we'll put the little extra time in him and the banner guy maybe. And then the others we'll try to just get them looking good enough to match. These, of course, since I got them in a trade, were already assembled, already glued together. These might actually be quite a bit easier to paint if you actually, kept the rider off the horse. But when you do a trade, you don't get that choice. So, but it's fine. We'll just basically anything we have a hard time reaching, we'll try to leave it dark and out of the way. And we'll just go from there. So that's it. Just a quick little extra highlight on the bone, mostly to try to kind of create that zenithal look. I don't need this dry brush for a while, so I'm just going to rinse it off right now. As always, if you're watching, feel free to jump in the chat. I only do these streams mostly just to hang out with the community and talk about the hobby with each other. So feel free to chat it up or comment if you're watching this in the future. But hopefully we'll do some cool stuff here. So I guess we'll give that a chance to dry for just a second. And let me line up this. Looks. All right, so that gives us mostly everything in frame. Going to use coal black. And just whatever big crappy brush you can grab. I got this old GW kind of wash brush. Actually, do I have a bigger one? Yeah, I'll just do this, the GW kind of wash brush. And I'm going to mix it with some of my little paint thinner there. I'll show you how to make that in a second, because I'm going to get rid of this cup since this is from yesterday. And I'm just going to go ahead and kind of wash in this black paint over my base. So we're just getting set up right now, but we'll do something a little more interesting in about 2 minutes. So we'll go grab a snack and then we'll be ready to work on our Kavalos Deathrider here. This is kind of acting as like another primer in a sense. I'm hoping the black paint will pool in any of the little texture that didn't catch the quick little red prime rattle can that I sprayed at it. So it just gives us another layer of paint down here to darken it up. Cool. So that should be fine. And then that might do that like another little bit of that at the end just to make sure that's dark. Oh, we got a date with nature. What's going on? Hey, 3 people is pretty good for me. Make sure you hit the thumbs up if you're watching, 3 people. We got to get 3 thumbs up on this video so the YouTube algorithm will provide us with joy. All right, so I'm just going to set the wet palette aside for 1 second. Don't need it for right this second. I'm going to try out some of these instant colors. So I have no idea what colors these are. So let's open them and find out. We're going to start with Dead Flesh. I don't know if this is a brown or a purple. Get my handy dandy scale 75 giant thumbtack. It looks like we have, well, I don't know, kind of a muted color. Interesting. It's kind of a gray purple. That's kind of a cool color. I don't know. I think that could be interesting. Okay. And let's go with Demon Brown. I assume this is going to be a dark brown. Yeah, that looks... Oh, yeah, that's a nice... Oh, it's got kind of almost a little bit of a subtle purple tint. All right, so let's go Demon Brown. That's probably way too much. Dead Flesh. And let's pick a bone color. How about Chestnut Ink? Cap Calloway, welcome my dogs and I'll be back. Hey, what's going on, man? Yeah, welcome. Hopefully you make it back and have a good walk with the dogs. All right, so we're just going to slap these around the model. Then we're going to use these little cut up makeup sponges and wipe it away. And that's going to be how we're going to base this. We'll just get like your biggest, most beat up brush. I'm going to use a size 6 ghost brush. This is one of my original prototypes, so it's been around for a couple years now. And I think what we're going to do is just go with this Demon Brown. It looks the darkest. And let's just say, you know, I think we actually need a bigger brush than, yeah, this is going to be tediously slow if I need a bigger brush than that. So let me find, all right, let's get the Mega. This is like one of those kind of crappy brushes you can find on Amazon. The Sable, you know, it's just some random like camel hair or something. But it's soft and big, so it'll absorb a lot of this paint. And we'll just go ahead and quickly wash in his legs. I like that. It's like a deep maroon color. Demon Brown. If you have access to the scale instant colors, check out Demon Brown. I think this one I could see getting a lot of use out of. Like I said, this was already a model that was assembled, so we don't have options on, like, say, the hard to reach places. So our option is going to be try to make it dark. That way it's in shadow and it doesn't draw the eye to it at least. And it'll look fine. Actually, it'll probably save us a lot of time not worrying about painting things that you might not even bother to see. All right, so just kind of slapping Demon Brown around the lower body of the horse. And try and get it underneath where you can. It's really hard on the brush to just stab it in there and twist it, but that's why we're just using a brush we don't care about. Whatever old brush you got is fine. Because this is very damaging to it to stab into these little areas. That's why a lot of brush tips get destroyed in miniature painting, is trying to reach these little hard to reach areas. And for some reason, I feel like we're still not quite getting it. There we go. It looks a little... All right. Let's wipe that down a bit. And you can see we're getting off a lot of the little excess paint, kind of bringing back our highlight a little bit. We're kind of doing the work of the contrast paint for it, and more extreme because it's not going to leave this light of a highlight back. Cool. So, and what we'll do is we'll just kind of avoid the inside of with our sponge. That way we don't have to worry about lightening those areas up. We're trying to leave them dark. So there we go. We got something going. Let's switch to this brown color and finish off the top of the horsey. That one's nice too. Oh, this was chestnut ink from Ink 10 scale 75. So we'll kind of just finish off the horse with this. This one's like a really powerful brown ink. And should get a good stain because usually inks are very pigmented. So we should get a pretty heavy staining effect when we go to wipe this off, which is what we want. So we'll go ahead. Maybe we'll even bring it down on the front armor plate a little bit, like right there on the horse. Try to maybe even a little bit there. Try to break up some of this bone. Which is part of the fun of these guys, is it's so much bone and there's so many, they're kind of like a collage of bones of different creatures and victims and enemies of Nagash. So all kinds of fun bone painting techniques. And let's just wipe that away with our sponge. This is really nice too for helping it just dry in a reasonable amount of time, especially when you're doing it on a little stream, because you can keep working without it being just wet paint everywhere. It'll still be somewhat wet, but we'd like to clean that face up. I think we'll definitely go lighter on that face. And there we go. So we got no problem. The description on the YouTube videos is somewhat just repeated between video to video. I don't really change it much. I'll add, to the tags on what I'm actually working on. All right, I'm gonna give that brush and rinse because we've been beating it up a little bit. And I guess we will use this color on him. It's going to mix somewhat with the kind of browns and other colors we got going. Maybe we'll use a little bit of it on this horse face too. That's fine. So this one's pretty interesting color. I feel like there's some really good uses for it. Obviously, this is my first time ever opening it up, so I've never used it before, but just the weird nature of this kind of purple gray, I feel like you could probably find some cool uses for it. We'll see. I think it's worth playing with. Be happy to try it out some more in the future. See, one problem with when you say glue your shields on your models before you paint them, then you have to worry about trying to get behind the shield. I think, let me see, how do I want to approach that? I'm going to go Inktense Black. I'm just going to dump it right into this blue old topper. All right, so what we're going to do is just take, I guess, we'll take some of this darker maroonish color, mix it with the black, and just really try to get the back of that shield just to where it's completely dark. Probably can't even see it on camera, but really dark and hopefully unnoticeable that we're not really going to further paint it. And let's put a little bit of this blackish color on his hooves. Why not? We got it on the brush, so. And maybe underneath the tail there a little bit. That's cool. And we'll do a little bit under his jaw here. Kind of a blackish wash. And why not? We'll probably change this, but we'll just make him have a black shield, I guess. That's not bad. Just as one quick coat. I mean, we can still highlight and stuff on it. So let's play with that a little bit. Let's make this black. He's got these nice shoulder pads and chest armor, so we'll darken that up. His helmet, face. His face will make something else probably, but right now it's hard to reach, so we'll just darken it up. Actually, he's got quite a bit of armor on him. It's bone armor pretty much, but it's still armor. So yeah, we'll darken him up. We'll get that black on the spear, which will probably make magical or something. So yeah, just doing that, we kind of turned him darker than that original subtle kind of shadow color we put on him, but that's fine. It mixes with him a little bit here. So we'll get his feet dark too, just so they stand out a little bit. All right, give that a rinse. Grab our sponge. First thing I want to do is clean up the spear. Because I know that's pooling a lot of paint on that blade. There we go. Get his little things. We'll get that horse face again. The shield looks pretty nice, so let's just give it some downward sweeps. Yeah, I'm not mad at that shield. That came out kind of cool. Kind of dab it in there a little bit, maybe the inside top part of the shield, but we're not going to worry about deep in there on the shield. It's too hard to reach. Well, there's actually one little spot that I would not mind. Okay, I think we got it. All right. I think that's pretty good. Jamie, what's going on? Yeah, I just started. I've been having fun painting these guys. They're cool models. One of those models you just have been eyeballing and they look great, but you don't really want to pay for them. But then trading my Tyranids got a good deal. You know what? Let's actually go back with this black and hit this kind of chest armor of the horse. That way we'll kind of match him in. All right, so this is us just basically playing with the instant colors mostly and a couple inks. And now we'll hit his little tunic with some sort of ink or something. Let's go with I'm gonna find one here. I think I have one that's kind of blue. All right, here we go. Muted turquoise is what we're going with. Muted turquoise. Haven't used this one in a while, so let's give it a good shake. Get our little water bottle lids out of the way. And now we're going to go to that size 6 ghost brush. And I don't know how good this is going to cover what we've done. Oh, it's not bad. Just kind of block in his little cape he's got on his saddle. Or on his horse, I guess I should say. We're being loose. That's fine. We're going to clean him up a little bit later. But I mean, he's just this pile of bones. So I seen some other painters, when they paint these guys and add a lot of interesting color and stuff into the models, I feel like they look better, more interesting, instead of just like straight skeleton horde contrast paint and bone dry brush or whatever. So we're going to try and, get a lot of colors bouncing around and mixing on the model. And then we'll kind of separate it later with our highlights. There we go. So he's got kind of his blue. And I think we will just give that a few little dabs. Remove some of that just so it dries. Cool. All right, now let's get the wet palette back out. And we can move our little washes over there. I don't know if we'll need them again. Probably don't need these sponges again. This here is the Necro paint pot holder. It's available on the current Kickstarter. It goes tiny on Kickstarter right now, if you're interested. And here we go. Let's try to get our palette in. I make this line here just so I kind of know where you guys can see. All right, let's get rid of this. This is kind of sludgy. Cap Calloway back in the building. Welcome back. I'm glad you survived. All right, I'm going to make the little universal paint mix solution that I do. But check this out. They raised the price 50 cents on me. $7 to $7.50. I bought another one just in case. So AK Interactive Ultra Matte. The Ultra Matte is basically the secret. Ultra Matte plus this Death Shroud Clear, that's a secret to some really sweet models. You can really get some nice shadows on your models and then just matte coat it and it looks beautiful. Or I think so. Show you this guy here. He's the one we did yesterday. Also, you can see his base, this kind of bluish sand color. So that's what his base is going to be too. All of them, I guess. Yeah, I've been doing pretty good at Oh, so ultra matte medium plus distilled water. That's our paint mixer, paint thinner that we use on our wet palette while we paint. I got the Kickstarter going right now, and the problem, well, one thing with the Kickstarter is once I get all those brushes made and ordered, I'm going to have a whole bunch more that I have to store in my little apartment, which is already filled to the brim. So I've been doing a lot of eBaying and a lot of cleaning as well. But, after a while, it's nice to just turn on the camera and get some painting done. And honestly, one thing that I like to do, one of the reasons I like even painting on camera is it forces me to get some stuff painted. So let's start. I think we need to get some more colors out here. Let's get Indian Shadow. Actually, we already have that out there. I see it. How about African Shadow? I think we have. Can we see that? Sort of. And I think we got our white. We got our bone. I'm going to bring out some more of this ice yellow. I think that's a pretty nice universal kind of color to mix with. Mute down your purples. So we'll just mess around in this area where there's already some purples and whatnot that we were using on the Green Goblin last night. This is our Green Goblin area. But now it's going to be our Skeleton Horse area. So let's take that African Shadow, mix it with our Green Goblin outfit highlight color, which is just some sort of purple and white. And let's just put some little highlights into the horse's lower leg bones. We can go much lighter than this, but we'll just kind of build this in right now. Sort of dry brush-esque, just loosely light brush strokes on there. Okay, that looks fine. Let's lighten it up now. We'll take a little white, a little of this ice yellow, yellow and purple, complementary colors. So they desaturate, make somewhat of a gray. And see if we can't pull in some interesting little highlights. Into our skeleton horse. And then I think we'll have to decide later maybe which, some of these bones are like really more obviously his bone armor as much as not, or not as much as like bone anatomy. So we'll probably figure out how to do those with something. I don't know what color I want to use on those yet, but I know they should probably be a different color. Just because if not, he's just going to be one solid bone color, dry brushed. So we're just kind of going around the legs. Maybe we could put some of this up into like some of these areas, but we'll cover them, but get a little bit of that color mixed in. And let's maybe even stab at his face a little bit with that color. Yeah, that's fine. Maybe the back of the shield too. Also, anywhere you got your blue turquoise ink, and by you I mean me, we'll go ahead and put some of this highlight color over that to just try and clean up our messy areas. Yeah, it's been a Pretty nice though, actually being motivated to get stuff out on eBay just to get it out of the house. Let's grab some of this cadmium flesh tone. We'll mix it into that purple with, I don't know, some miscellaneous bone color, maybe a touch of white. That actually made quite a bit of a, normal. I don't like that. Let me get a paper towel. Just going to put a paper towel out there to clean our brush if we have a little too much paint on it. This actually went to bone color for me. Let's rinse that off a little bit. So let's darken that down because I don't want to go. We'll go back to that shadow color. I didn't want to jump up that much quite already. There we go. That looks a little more reasonable. And we're just going to, this area is just too much. Too much light color got added. We'll just go ahead and work around the skeleton too, just using our own discretion on which bones we think are this new light color, which ones aren't. Are the bones, the skulls tucked in the lighter ones, or the kneecaps, or whatever, It's hard to explain because there's just so many bones, but it's all bones. Now this is actually, though, where we bring some of this, I think, into the horse. And I'm not being overly careful. I'm just having fun. Maybe that guy. I do think this guy would look cool if his horse's main face area got pretty light. All right, there we go. We got kind of this purplish bone going. Dinos. Oh, I missed that part. Trying to work with the motivation to 350 printed dinosaurs. I never even heard of Dinosaur Island. Yeah, it sounds like you got a lot of dinosaurs to paint. Now, one thing with doing this skeleton like this, maybe let's lighten it up a little bit now. He might not look the best in maybe some pictures, but it's a real easy way to get some interesting effects going on your bone and not just making it just your normal, Agrax and bone wash. Which would still look good on these models because these models are actually really cool. But I think doing something like this, you can get a lot of interesting detail. It's one of those models, like, hopefully you can kind of see already, like, there's a lot of cool stuff going on in that bone. You could take, like, one of your lighter highlight colors and then just put like your highlight kind of down like the center of the bone. You see it made it almost like a transition or a blend. You could even kind of carry it on in the other spots. So maybe here there's like a light hitting here and maybe across this face, maybe down the top. Maybe this inside of that leg is getting hit with some light. I think there's a good spot for it too. Here on the neck, like if you just put that highlight kind of in the center of it, you get this kind of interesting look. And I'm not doing anything. Like I'm not even really controlling my brush. I'm just trying to make interesting colors that are all muted, so they're somewhat bone-ish. And then of course you could let this guy dry as is and then hit him with just your normal like bone color dry brush in the areas you want it and pick it out. Maybe we'll do that. I don't know. I don't think I will, but hit it with a wash now that we've built in all these new extra bone colors. Let's go a little orangish with this kind of, I don't know what this is, some sort of maybe barbarian flesh tone. Let's take a little bit of one of those inks or whatever that was. And get these horns and drop our model. We'll just kind of base coat those off. That way they're extra separated. Now let's look to see, is there any other way we can use our horn color or the horn base color? And I think maybe we could do it on this bone area up here. That's going to hold his spear, and then we'll do it again down at the bottom of his spear. So we got a little bit of there, and then maybe, oh, here's some. So we're just kind of saying maybe all these spikes or teeth are from the same bone monster. Maybe we'll even put a little bit on his teeth. And it looks like the top of the shield has some. Maybe we'll hit it with a little looser amount there. There we go, kind of build that up. So let's just kind of, basically we've added some orange into them, and we'll gray that out a little bit. So orange complementary color is blue. So let's go ahead and take any mixture of this blue mess, mix it in to our orange, touch of white or yellow, any of them. You see we start graying it out. Maybe a little more blue. There we go. And now it's kind of this grayer tone. Let's put that into the horns. So this is kind of bouncing back between warm and cool tones. It makes it a little interesting when you have a mixture of warm and cool. Maybe we'll put some of this in some miscellaneous spots too, like if we see maybe some of these skulls are looking a little not interesting. Ooh, I picked up some black ink from one of the crevices. Maybe we'll hit, actually I don't know what color we'll do his chest yet, but we'll put a little blue in it for now. We're going to put a little bit of blue in his chest armor, and we'll put some blue into now. The way I'm painting this model would be a nightmare if you were painting a Space Marine, because a lot of times you're going to want your Space Marine to be a uniform, continuous color that you can match on all your vehicles and match on your different unit types. But for this kind of character, yes, he's a part of a unit, but honestly, all I got to do is get maybe close and it'll be fine. He's not wearing like a full-on military uniform. So this is a really, really fun way too, if you're just working on like one-off models, because you can see I've actually done a lot of work on this guy already. And I'm just I mean, it's been 40 minutes, I guess, but I'm just piddling around having a good time. Let's go ahead and take some of this more blue. Bring that onto our cloak thing. Yeah, this is like, I don't know, just a loose, fast, fun painting method that because of all the shifts in color, it's going to look pretty darn striking. It's not going to look like you're, oh, I got way too, geez, I tried to put the blue on the inside of his, the inside of his cloak thing there, and I got it just all over the guy's leg, but that's fine. We haven't even worked on him yet. So there we go. We're mixing. Let's go back into our blue-orange. Maybe pull some of that orange back. Let's get some more of this white. Oh, I think this is going to be a good, oh yeah. That's kind of a good color for the bones on the face here. Maybe put a little there. And once again, we're not stressing about colors mixing. I'm just trying to pick out maybe his kneecaps are this color. Maybe just this front one has a little bit, touch of light. Let's bring it down the back of this. Oh, actually, looks like he's got this kind of bone on his tail too. And let's go back into our white, maybe a touch of that yellow. And bring this horn up in value. That's kind of a more final highlight kind of look. Maybe this thing has this color too. Ugh, too much. Maybe some there. But what it's going to look like when it's done is like we spent maybe a lot of time meticulously picking where colors should go. And what we're actually doing is just putting paint on pretty loosely and bouncing between kind of warm and cool tones, staying in kind of a blue or orange spectrum. Some purples, but all right, let's see if we can't take a little bit of our, maybe this lighter blue, mix it over here and put in some lights into our cloak here. Cool. Let's check over at the chat. Oh, I haven't used any of the alcohol inks. I have a lot of different acrylic ones that I've been messing with. All right, let's go back into I don't know, any of this. Maybe this kind of redder one, and let's put some of that into these, I don't know, kind of like shoulder plates that we kind of made blue. Now we're kind of putting a warmer, lighter value over top of them. So the blue's almost like a little bit of an undertone. And we'll go ahead and bring that up on his armor as well, and his helmet and shield. Trying to keep lightening up basically higher up on the model and not that much on the lower parts of the model, because we want it to kind of fade away. Let's see if we can clean up a little bit of this blue we got on our man's leg. Maybe we'll just use this on him for a minute. Try to lighten him up a bit. The areas that we didn't already paint blue, like his legs and stuff. Although maybe they should be blue. I'm going to rinse that brush. I feel like I've been going for a little bit without any rinsing. And we're just doing this. Basically, we're just repeating this over and over again until we feel like he's looks good. I'm going to take a little bit of that kind of green bone color and get a little bit of our skeleton man highlighted. Actually, yeah, like this piece on his forearm definitely is armor, so I'll have to go back and blue that up a little bit. We'll hit the back of that shield. So yeah, let's jump over to our kind of bluer tone. Bring that in on his armor, on his, oh, not quite. Armor on his legs, forearm, shoulder pads that apparently we didn't do. What's the difference between them? Well, alcohol, I mean, I would imagine, well, first of all, you're going to need alcohol to clean your brush and thin the paint if you need. It's an ink, so you probably don't need to thin it. I imagine it has less surface tension, so it probably flows into recesses. Like this is an enamel wash, the panel liner. We'll use that in a bit. Let's get out. Yeah, let's go pure, well, almost pure. The palette is always messy at this use level. But I'm just going to basically paint the spear a base coat of this white color. So I think I'm going to make it like orange. So kind of bring back the white on it That way when we go orange, it'll be more visible, easier to coat it. I think we actually, let's get quite a bit whiter. White, white, white. Mix it in with maybe some of this greener color. Hit this face. Basically, when people look at your models, they're going to look at your face, your shield, your weapons, your banners. So we're going to put a little bit of extra light into the horsey's face. Maybe carry it a little bit down the tail. So he's gotten quite a bit lighter there. There we go. And actually, let's get this shield centerpiece. Lighten that up. Maybe a little bit on this shoulder. And maybe a little bit on this. But yeah, so I don't even think I finished my thought. It's going to be a nightmare to, if you were doing this on like a Space Marine, to try and match your color to do it again. But on these models, no, I think I did finish that thought. But anyway, yeah, it's going to be just kind of a fun exercise to play around with matching up the other guys in his unit. Big advantage, of course, being they don't have to match. They just have to look like they belong in the same army. Cool. So I think he looks pretty good. Oh, you know what? We didn't really get the saddle. Let's see, maybe this red, mix it over here with this black. Maybe a touch of that ink that I just see next to my paint. We're going to just darken this saddle. Because right now it was basically just left as the initial instant color washes. So yeah, there we go. Just darken that salad. Oh, might be going off camera. Cool, cool, cool. Let's get something. You know, I think we can go more blue. You know, we got this blue ink. Let's go ahead and mix that in with some paint here. It's quite a bit more saturated. We'll put that in his shield. And maybe in this chest armor. And I think on this, that might be too much there. Use our finger, just wipe it away. Do the same, finger, wipe it away. Yeah, just to basically bring some color into his armor a little bit. Try to pull it out of all the muted tones by re-adding a saturated color. There we go. Now he's got some. I think we'll actually take our dark mixture there. Maybe hit the trim a little bit around the armor on the chest here. Just make that a little darker. I highly suggest, if you've never painted like this, just get like a model from like a board game or like a model for like a D&D game or something. Literally just get your paints out and just keep the brush going. Keep moving. Have a good time. See what you can come up with. It's a very satisfying way to paint. Like, I mean, he's almost completely done to what I would think is a very, I mean, it's not, you know, the highest display quality miniature you ever saw, but he's pretty nice looking. I'm going to go into maybe some of this. I don't know what it is. Reds and purples. And just kind of base coat these straps on that spear. We've basically been playing around with a lot of desaturated colors. So whenever we add saturation, like a more bright red or bright purple, it should, you know, it stands out basically quite a bit. So there we go. That looks somewhat interesting. Let's try to get in there. I know for a fact this is going to be a little gemstone or something. So we'll just base coat that in. Ugh, it's too runny. Kind of, that's funny. It filled up the crevices, but didn't really base coat the gemstone. Let's just put some white on it. Maybe, you know, maybe we'll put a little bit of white dots around where that gemstone is. Maybe we'll do like a little pretend OSL to kind of brighten up on that shield. Jump back over to this kind of lighter green color, I guess, and get his helmet a little more interesting. And maybe we'll go over here to this kind of purplish color and just kind of base coat this. We use quite a bit of the purplish colors down on the lower end of the horse, like the nearest bottom of his legs and feet. So this kind of brings that color, although quite a bit exaggerated, up on the model. Quick highlight while it's still wet, that's fine. And maybe we'll take one of the more bone highlights and highlight the piece that's holding all this like bone mohawk. If you ever wanted a model with a bone mohawk, this is the guy for you. Let's get just some areas here that are a little not that interesting. Oh, got a little bit of blue right there, so we'll just cover it with a highlight of some sort of random bone color. There we go. Yeah, I don't know. I think basically he's done. I'll add a little bit more to them. Well, I mean, but yeah, I think that was. I'll keep going, but what I'm saying is, there we go. I mean, that's a pretty good looking undead cavalry guy, especially if you got, 10, 5, 10, 15, 20 of these guys in your army. We're going to make a lighter version of this black brown over here. Oh, that's too light. Oh, well. We just got gray. We can brown it up, though, with some of that ink we had. And just highlight our saddle that we washed with our dark brown. Just so it has a little something going on. Maybe even highlight the... Nope, don't like that. Too much. Try to wipe that with my finger. I was going to say maybe highlight the hooves a little bit. All right. Darken up some areas. Oh, there's like a little strap on the inside here with a shield. Let's get some miscellaneous purplish color. There we go. Just suggest that we knew it was there. Oh, he's got a little gem on his chest that I got to get. Didn't really notice that. What the heck is going on with that color? It's like nothing. Every time I use it, it just completely runs into the crevices like a wash and isn't even a paint. Bring some highlights into our skelly man here. Just so there's a little bit of extra detail in him. Actually, this might be it's probably too light. Yeah, it is. But we already started, so we'll just keep going. Kind of highlight that. And let's go ahead and run some of that down the top of the tail there. Yeah, we got quite a mixture of bone colors going on. It's loose, but fun and fast. I'm going to go over to the new Ghost Tiny brush. Get one of them out. And mix up. You gotta be careful with these little brushes. You don't want to get paint all the way in. Well, any paintbrush, you don't want to get paint in the ferrule. If you're mixing a color like this, you want to be careful not to get the paint all the way in. This is going to be too bright. I can already tell. Let's try again. Let's mix this down into here. That might be more reasonable. And I'm just putting like little hatch marks down the raised areas of my cloth. think it gives it a little bit of a cloth texture look. Cool way to highlight and add some interest. There we go, a little highlight on the cloth. You know, this bone on his chest. Oh. Looks like maybe we could pick that out a little bit. There we go. Put a little highlight on his knee, why not? Shin bone. You could take pure, well, it's not pure because the palette's dirty, but you could take a somewhat pure white, maybe highlight a little bit of dots around the eye on the horsey. Maybe around his nose or lips. Knuckles. Maybe the arm there. Get a little bit of white on these gems again. A little bit of highlight onto the weapon, just because. We'll take a little bit of that white, mix it into our miscellaneous maroon color, and just kind of tap it down the side. Give us like a little highlight effect. One thing I think that might look cool, maybe we darken the tips. We'll just get the bigger brush out here. Let's go back to this kind of brown ink, maybe some black. And just kind of paint the little tips. Then we'll lighten it up with whatever color we got here, and we'll give it a somewhat of a little highlight. That's all right. We'll actually probably wash that mohawk with something. What are you working on besides cleaning, guys? I painted a whole skeleton. Let's go with red ink. Game ink red. I'll move that out of the way a little bit. I don't know where that came from. Alrighty, game ink red. Mix it with some of our thinner. Pretty big brush. Heavy kind of wash on the blade. Oh, get this little bottom part of the spear. We'll get the gemstone on his chest. And the gemstone there. And then we'll just put a little bit of that wash. We kind of took most of it off our brush, but a little bit of it, kind of spread it around those little white areas we did. Maybe like that red is radiating a little bit of red. And then do we have a bright red? No. Sure. Let's try Evil Sun Scarlet. I'm just going to put some of that on the palette. Trying to find a somewhat clean spot. We'll kind of use that in the lower parts of the gem and the blade. Kind of like our shadow. Oh, this one filled in around the skull with all the red. Guess we should probably do that to this one too. Of course, the other one did it naturally. Now this one's going to be a little messy. So that's kind of our shadow red. And then let's take a little bit of white. I don't know if I really love. No, we don't want pink. I think we want to go orange. Let's go orange. Painted typhus. Awesome. Got all the flies done. What skin wash? Let's go right into this orange. Normally, if you're painting out of the pot, you could use this. I'll put it there for demonstration. But for this, I'm just kind of being fast and loose. So I'm going to just mix it into this slightly red wash. And paint the top half. And we'll paint top part of our little spear. I don't know if we really need magic weapons on these guys, but if I decide not to do it on the others, this will be an easy way to know he's the champ. Because he's got the magic weapon. There we go. So we just put some little hot spots of orange. Let's take big scoop of black. Mix it into our brown here. This is not the brush I want to use for this. It's just, I mean, it's not like that's a great brush because it's been used for years, but it's going to destroy it even more if I... We'll go ahead and put another layer of our kind of dark wash. And I purchased a new color, blue black. Oh, the gaming. Yeah, I have a few of the game inks, but I have so many of the GW washes and stuff. I don't, in the scale washes and now the instant colors and Liquitex, and I don't have as many. I'm gonna put some blue black right into our mix. Just dab it around. There we go. Maybe get some of the black and darken up some areas as well. Cool. Maybe we'll get a little bit more of the black and darken. There we go. All right. I think I just got the red one and the sepia. This one's nice too. Oh, and then I got some of these ones that are nice. The model big pots of washes. Kind of in that point where I want to hopefully use up some of my paints and throw them away. Just so I don't have quite as many. Let's go to the panel liner here. Just try this out in a couple spots. I think if we hit the chest armor, get those darker lines in, can make that gem look a little more interesting. The helmet there, the teeth for sure, darken them up. Oh, too much. Maybe around the base of these horns. Put some darker lines in this here. Oh, got a little wonky there, but that's okay. We're just fast and loose. Way too much there. I'm not paying as much attention as I probably should be. Cool. Oh, we want to get this shield too. Definitely. Want to get some better contrast in our shield here. Also blends away a little bit of our kind of just quick nothing OSL effect we did. It's not even a good one, but we did it. Put that in there. Basically trying to get some good shadows in the armor plating, getting some good separation and details. Actually, maybe here on these bones too. Oh, this is not a bad place for it, around the little skull. Oh, got a bunch on that. Oh, wow. We can clean that up later. It's really good between fingers. Try to get those real dark. And toes, like this. Oh, there's a gemstone down there. Darn it. Let's pretend like we didn't see that. There's a gemstone down there, but we're going to pretend we don't know that there's a gemstone down there. Because we've already moved on with our lives. We already did the gemstones. Right now we're painting panel liner shadows. Yeah, I think this is... Oh, I see. I keep touching the spear tip to the top of the... That's how I keep... That's why I'm getting splodges onto the spear tip. And just finish this down the legs a bit where there's some deep lines. And yeah, once we hit them with the... Oh, let's get these skulls in here that we didn't really do anything to. Once he's completely dry and we hit him with the matte coat, a lot of these little subtle color changes and stuff will show up better. And I think he'll look pretty good. And then once he's completely dry, we'll touch up all that orange and gemstones to make them even more bright and vibrant. Well, there you have it. You'll have a better picture of him in the thumbnail once I get it done. Oh, I can show you one more thing. And then we'll finish this one up, and I don't know, maybe I'll batch paint 4 more of these. He's the champion, so he gets a little extra, I'm guessing. I don't know. I mean, he took about an hour and a half. He's not 100% done, but he's pretty done. And it doesn't look like the base is dry enough for this, but let's go ahead and try. So airbrush thinner, Vallejo airbrush thinner is, oh yeah, panel liner, Sammy 3D. That's so fun. You just dump it on everything and it just fills in all your details and you're just like, woo, that was easy. If you ever want to get, let me make sure I don't panel liner all over my fingers right now. If you ever try to get that kind of dustier, dry pigment look on your bases or concrete, mix your dry pigment with airbrush thinner. And it's probably going to reactivate the dry pigment in there, so I might not even need to add any new. I might get just like a beat up brush and we'll just stir it around. Yeah, you can see it's pulling up all that pigment that was dry from the other guy. But we'll add a little more just so I can show you. Oh, I almost spilled that everywhere. So here's the dry pigment. Take a scoop, put it in your airbrush thinner. And you can paint this on now like paint, but it'll dry back to like dry. So we'll scoop it on and we're going to load it in. And then we should actually, there's a pretty good chance we'll be able to see it, what it looks like dry pretty quick. Depends on how much, I don't know, like my thinner to pigment ratio, but it dries pretty fast. But I am trying to load it on because I want this to be like this weird blue sand base. Basically, these models are just warm and cool tones, kind of back and forth. And that's just the whole idea of the color scheme. I'm going to make sure I close my little powder pot. Yeah, I have 2 containers of faded blue secret weapon. So I think if I do this whole army with faded blue secret weapon, I might be able to go through one of these and get it out, throw it away. Not because I don't like it. It's just, you end up with so many paints in this hobby. Oh, the UV glow stuff, I don't 100% understand because I don't play the game under black light. So I'm not sure the value of it unless it looks glowy in just normal light. That's actually something maybe I'll do. Maybe I'll use this fluorescent orange to highlight my gems, or go up to like this fluorescent yellow, which actually doesn't even show up as fluorescent as it is on camera, but hopefully, well, it's still pretty wet. Maybe I can just kind of spray airbrush air at it and dry it. So if you hear a hissing, I'm trying to dry my base with the airbrush. I'm just spraying it at it a little bit to show you what it looks like when it's drier. Let's check. I have a UV flashlight. Let's check what this pigment looks like under the UV flashlight once it's a little drier. Yeah, once this guy's dry and all that panel liner's dry, I'll probably just figure out, any little spots I don't like. But I'm not too worried about it. You end up with a bunch of these guys in your army, and if you fuddle or fiddle around too much, then you can get burnt out and never end up finish painting the army. So our little airbrush dryer technique isn't really working all that fast. So maybe we'll just give up on it. I mean, it seems like it's working though. So maybe let's continue. Let me show you. So people who were here from the beginning, these were the same model an hour ago. Or, the same. So I think that's a pretty big jump in quality in about an hour of painting. This guy's cool. This guy's not that cool. Now, can we make these guys look like this guy? Because we were really just throwing paint around and not paying a whole heck of a lot of attention to which colors I was using. I don't even really remember all the colors on my palette. But I think we'll be fine. All right, you can see some of, I'll lay him down so you can see some of that is drying. yeah, I would like my AdMech army. It's funny, I got a whole bunch more AdMech units, and I've used the same 2 blues on all of the vehicles and armor, which I still have to do on these guys. But I'm gonna run out of those blues, and I'm just like, it gets. I mean, it's fast to paint them now because I've done so many, and it's just like clockwork. But it's not fun. This was fun because I actually felt like I was painting and having a good time. But when I'm just painting the AdMech now, it just feels like step by step. Okay, paint the metals, Agrax gloss, rust, dark rust wash, paint the brass or gold. Pick out the armor and these 2 kind of gray blue colors. Whereas this was fun, but I got to repeat it. All right, getting him completely dry is going to take too long, but we'll just check on the other guy because I'm dumb. I have another guy who's been based this way. We can check the UV light. So here's our other guy. This is what it looks like when it's dry. And then I put like these blue grass tufts. And I have the UV flashlight. So let's see if it does anything. We'll turn off the light too. We'll turn off both lights. Let's go in the dark. We're trying an experiment here. All right, here we go. Anything? Oh, no, not exactly showing up very well on camera. All right, so our experiment failed. It's showing that UV light on camera. It's picking it up. If he was resin, we just made him 1% more brittle. All right, yeah, so we got some more. We got these guys, kind of the ogre size skeletons. One thing I'm not looking forward to is I got 60 of these little spearmen. So those will probably try to figure out how to batch paint a bit quicker, maybe 5 at a time or something. And all kinds of stuff. I got Archon the Black today. I got all kinds of stuff to do. But there you have it. The second model complete, almost. To be honest, the horse looks much more dark and grim than my first guy. But he's a wizard, so maybe he's cleaner. This guy's grimy, but he looks cool. So yeah, and then we got to do a little bit more on the gems and sword and stuff, or a spear tip. But yeah, I think we're going to call it right there. Probably do another model tonight, but I like to break the stream up. That way, if anybody watches in the future, they can just, watch this one guy get painted up, and then we'll switch over to somebody else. Either could be another one of these, or could be, probably won't be, but it could be Mega Man. Got him I'm working on. I think he'll be a fun one. I'll do him on stream. I just don't know when. But yeah, please hit the like button. Please subscribe. Please check out the Ghost Tiny Kickstarter. We're about to hit 100,000, which means everybody gets an additional set except for the classic pledges, because those are just getting the classic brushes that we've already made. And yeah, I think we had a pretty good one here. I think the model came out cool, and yeah, pretty excited about it. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that, and I'll see you in the next one. Like and subscribe. Smash the like button for the algorithm. Do it. Hit it.